Hi, I'm Cheryl Thornton, and I'm a member of SEI 10-1. I work for the Department of Public Health. I am a Labor Council delegate, as well as a shop steward and a COPE delegate for SEIU 10-1.
And what happened here today? We're at the Department of Human Resources in the City and County of San Francisco.
So, yes, I was here today at DHR for my hearing, a Step 3 hearing, that normally you don't actually get a Step 3 hearing in person, but because I received a Step 3 hearing because my department, when I filed a grievance on retaliation and discrimination against me, they failed to respond timely, so I was granted a Step 3 hearing to talk to DHR about what took place with me.
And at this hearing, people were talking about the illegal discriminatory systemic discrimination and also gentrification and the need to protect the Potrero Hill Health Center and all the health centers. Is that part of what happened at this hearing today?
Yes, we talked about the systemic problem across the board that's happening with African American workers, how they're being targeted, taken out of their jobs, and we feel that this is related to gentrification and tearing down communities of color.
And the people that you were helping there in the community, they needed health care from the shipyards. And how was it related to the Hunters Point shipyard and the problems, systemic problems of health care?
Well, how it's related is that clinic was built in 1973 or so. It was put there because there was no health care in District 10 at all, the health care facility in District 10 at all for residents. So, and many of the residents were getting sick, they were dying from cancer, there was mental illness, there was all kinds of diseases going on. And nobody really, people were saying it was connected to the shipyards, the radiation, but nobody was really listening. So this clinic right here provided an access for people getting into healthcare to see if they could be treated medically.
And the accountability, because I was at part of the hearing, that officials, city officials have basically violated procedures, they've discriminated, and yet they don't seem to be held accountable. Was that an issue here at this hearing?
Yes, so in 2018, I successfully had a lawsuit because I had been harassed and bullied already on the job. I was a whistleblower previously, and so the people that are the same people that were involved previously in my lawsuit and now who are still harassing and bullying me, they're still on the job. They haven't been held accountable for their actions. And basically that's why I'm here today, again, on another grievance, because I've been bullied and harassed, retaliated, and discriminated against by these same managers who are not being held accountable. And they say that they're not discriminating against, they say they're not bullying us, but yet they go around violating our contract, our constitutional rights, our civil liberties as public workers.
You gave them today a file of anonymous statements that were made against you that they wanted to pass out to the rank and file of your own union after you had been removed and you'd got a good evaluation.
Yes, so I received about 20, I think, anonymous unsigned complaints that were given to me and my union rep after we filed a grievance, after we had a protest in front of 101 Grove. And these, today we talked about the anonymous complaints. I basically said they weren't valid because my due process was voided. I did not have due process or just cause.
This was further retaliation?
Yeah, it was further retaliation because at first they told me I was being reassigned due to organizational change. Then after SEIU 10-1 had a rally on March 28th, then they went and did an investigation after I left and got people to write anonymous complaints with no signatures. We don't even know the source of those complaints. We don't know who wrote those complaints.
And who organized this, the falsification?
We believe management. I believe that Willie Ramirez and Roxana Castellon, because we have facts that we know for sure that they were up at the clinic talking to certain people, soliciting information. So we believe that they organized this.
And is Micki Callahn aware of what's going on here?
Well, of course, because Micki Callahn most certainly interviewed Hallie Hammer about some of these goings on, and yet Hallie Hammer is still there, but it's clear that she's been harassing me. She's been orchestrating the harassment and discrimination in primary care.
You're not giving up, are you?
No. I'm a descendant of a slave.
We just left this hearing. It was for Cheryl Thornton, and I was there in support of her, as were community people, other co-workers from Potrero Health Center, and I think we made a very good case to the city about what's really happening here. The picture that's been painted by Roxana and Holly Hammer in primary care is not the real picture of Cheryl. And by what they're doing, it's become very clear to me that they don't understand my community, the black community. They don't understand the importance of somebody like Cheryl being in Potrero Hills. They think that if they take one black person out and just put in another black body, that it's okay. But if that person doesn't have those same community connections, if that person doesn't have that same passion about the community, even if they were born in Bayview, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have that kind of passion about the community. And that's what the patients are missing, and that's why the clinic is not doing as well as it was at one time. And that's why the patient PAC people are not happy. It's just a mess.
And you think they're going to get the message here? I mean, and because there's going to be a hearing this coming Wednesday.
I hope they get the message, but if they don't get it, if they didn't get it today, they're going to get it on the 19th, right? Because we're just going to be honest. And I think people are to the point now, employees, where we're tired of playing around anymore. We have to say what we really feel. You know, it's partly, I would say some of the workers might be responsible for perpetuating this stuff by not saying anything, by staying silent, by feeling like you can't, you know, basically as a black person, you can't buck the white people. You can't say anything that's going to upset somebody white because then your career might be ended. I think those days are over, and we can't let that stand, and we need to stand up to it wherever we see it.
My name is Roxie Lew Harris, and I am a patient advisory member at the Potrero Hill Health Center.
So we're here in the San Francisco Human Rights Resources, Department of Human Resources, and you are here to support Cheryl Thornton, and who is a worker, an important worker at the Potrero Hill Health Center. Why are you here to support Cheryl?
For the fact of it is that she is a big advocate to the clinic. She has been there for over 20-something years, and she works in the community. She works with the children. She works with the school. She works with the patients. She keeps everything running. She knows where everything is, and they let her go. And they said, well, no, we didn't let her go, but you move her to another position. But when she was part of the glue to the community. And I'm here to support her. For the fact of it is that she has worked diligently. Why should you get punished for doing your job?
And the clinic, are you concerned that they're gentrifying the area and they really want to shut down and privatize the clinic?
I really believe so. Being a patient myself at that clinic, my mother was one of the founders that helped get that clinic built. So I knew I was helped with them doing different jobs for them, and saw that clinic come from the ground up, from dirt up. And it was for the community, the people in the community, because we had nowhere to go. And that was the reason that they started getting the satellite clinics into effect, because we had to meet at the neighborhood house on Wednesdays to be seen by a doctor. That was the only thing that we had, or we all was at General Hospital for emergency. So the community got together and they fought for that community to have this here, and the people in the community were the patients of this clinic.
And what were the health concerns of the community? I know some of these patients were from Hunters Point Shipyard. Were there people that were being contaminated as a result of the toxins?
Yes, they were. And we lived in Hunters Point. We lived on Potrero Hill. Our grandfathers and grandmothers, they worked at the shipyards. They ended up dying from cancer. Our people in the neighborhoods, they develop cancer and asthma. I was one of those that ended up having an asthma problem, and because of the health reasons, we were getting sick unnecessarily. And that was another reason that they decided to have these health clinics, so that you was able to have a doctor that followed you and seeing how you progressed through your illnesses. And you had the dentist there. We didn't have to go way across town to be seen by a dentist, so that we could get healthy health care.
And this is like community health care.
Community health care within our community. We didn't have to go to somebody else's neighborhood to get that help.
And what has happened since Cheryl was removed? How was she removed, and what has happened since she was removed?
How she was removed was like she was told that she was being moved to another position. But why would you take her from the clinic to where she had activities going on for children and for the patients and the patient advisory and all, and now the impact, she worked with the school in the community, she worked with the neighborhood house, she worked in the community itself, she rallied up children, she rallied up patients to come to that clinic. And here she was a big source of the community. And Cheryl don't live in the neighborhood anymore, but she still worked for that community.
And the gentrification that's going on now in Potrero Hill, are people being pushed out, poor working class African Americans being pushed out of Potrero Hill?
Yes, they are. I grew up on Potrero Hill myself. And now I see when I come to the community, they have buildings, they're all boarded up. They're doing all new buildings down there, and they said they're making the houses affordable. But these people can't afford what they're making them affordable for. They don't have the low income. They're moving them out of their homes and where they grew up at.
And where are they going? Are some of these people ending up homeless?
They're homeless. They are leaving the city because they can't afford to stay here. They can't get anything. They're moving them to different parts of the city, and you move them from one section of contaminated soil to another. So all you're still affecting their health.
And what has happened at the clinic since she was forced out by the city?
Since she's filled out, we've lost the directors that's up there. We have 2 doctors that are working in the place of the clinic director, which means they're not seeing as many patients because they're doing double duty. And now we've been informed that one of the doctors is leaving in a couple of months, so that means that we're back even worse than what we were before, without having the doctors and without having the Cheryl who helped maintain a lot of the things that was facilitated that was going in there on at the clinic. So like now we're losing the numbers that we have. They're going down and down, and then you see people coming in from other communities into the clinic. The upkeep of the clinic is not the same. When Cheryl was there, that clinic never looked like it did outside. And I'm not just saying this to give her praise, but you could see the work that she did. She took time out on her own to make sure that children got jobs for the summertime and on, and to be able to go on to college.
Well, what does that say about the priorities of the city and county of San Francisco? All these new buildings, billions of dollars are coming into San Francisco. It's one of the wealthiest places in the world. And yet it seems like this community clinic, it's a low priority.
It's a low priority. And it's not only the clinic a low priority, but the people that come to this clinic. We don't have no priority anymore. It's okay to help build the city up, but now that you got the city up and running the way that it needs to go, you just shove us on over to the side. And everyone else can come in and piggyback off of us. We don't get the pay that other people do. So that means they come in and they take these jobs that are already there. They're working in the community, and none of them do anything to the community to make sure that the community keeps thriving. It's a lot of changes going on.
And there was a rally at the Department of Public Health where you and other people spoke out and then went upstairs and met with Barbara Garcia, the former director of the Department of Public Health. What happened at that hearing? What did she say about what was going on?
Well, she refused to meet with all of us at one time, and she wanted to set up a caucus group of a few of us and would meet with us and take this here and to accountability of what happened. Well, she ended up sending a task force. She didn't come to the first couple of meetings. And then when she finally did, she said she didn't want to talk about what was happening. Then why say we're going to have a task force when you're not going to even participate in what's supposed to be happening? And in the process of it, all this time, Cheryl has been out of her job. She has not, so you punishing her because she's trying to make a good for the community.
And that's really what you think is behind this effort to get rid of her?
Definitely, because they call what they call a whistleblower, because she was telling about things that were going on in the clinic that wasn't supposed to be happening. And because you know your job, you're getting penalized for knowing your job. And if you're doing things that you're not supposed to be doing and somebody corrects you on it, you want to get rid of them? Because you're still doing the things that are doing wrong. The clinic is going down. I was a part of this clinic since it first started. And we've gone through directors and doctors and all, but it's never been like this. And it's been worse within the last 4 months that Cheryl's been out. It's gotten worse. And the upkeep of it and everything, it's going down. There's a lot of arguing and bickering and things going on and hush-hush, and you can feel the heat when you go in the clinic.
And San Francisco now has an African-American mayor, London Breed. What would you say to her about what she should do since she's now in charge in the city and county of San Francisco?
I talked to London Breed. Matter of fact, I talked to her outside of City Hall. She was out on a break. And I explained to her some of the things that was happening. And when she made her speech, she said, Potrero Hill, I hear you. So hopefully that when she say I hear you, that she did hear us, and then she come in and see what is happening to that community and how they're destroying it. She grew up on Potrero Hill as well. One of her aunts is right there off of Arkansas. So she knows how it was run and how the children pulled together and stuff. All that's there, we're being divided. All 4 sections of the hill pulled together, we're being divided now. We don't even have transportation up there now. So you can't even get to the clinic. The patients can't even get to the clinic because they switched the bus routes around. So it's like the people that are coming in there are the ones that have cars and they can afford to get there. Are in good health that you can walk up them hills? The Potrero Hill Health Center is on a hill.
And one of the employees of the city and county of San Francisco, Amy Brownell, was a health engineer, environmental engineer, and according to Cheryl, she was telling people that the reason they were getting sick is because of stress. Also, apparently, she was being paid by Lennar, the developer. She wasn't being paid by the city and county of San Francisco. What do you think about a city employee telling the people in the community that they were sick because of stress and not really because of the toxins in the environment?
It's easy to turn the head, to get somebody to look somewhere else so that you won't look at what really the problem is. And that's a deterrent, and that's what's happening, to my way of looking at it. That's a deterrent. It's just like with all the stuff that's happening in the news right now. Everything that's happening takes it away from what Trump is doing, but, to keep it from us settling on what he's doing. So it's the same thing that's happening. If I give you something to focus in over here, you're not going to pay attention to what's happening right here.
So your issue is that the clinic should be defended, it should be, Cheryl should be returned to the clinic, and that it should get the kind of priority in the city and county of San Francisco that it deserves.
Yes, I 100% that this needs to happen. It's like because you try to help somebody, you try to help the community, you get penalized. That's not okay. And especially when you're doing a job that is to help the whole community, not just the clinic. She helped the whole community. When I'm talking about the neighborhood house, she worked with the school department. She helped give fairs in the summertime. She helped give the health aid thing when we had the different projects at the street fair and stuff. She was a big part of that. She made sure that the clinic was involved as well. So we were all connected. Now everybody's on their own. And it's falling apart. And yes, she was the glue. So why would you take your glue away from the community? And especially if you look at the record and the things that she was doing. Yes, everybody got your bad points against you, but she has more of the good point than she do the bad point. And because she knows what she's talking about, she knows her job, you're going to penalize that for her because I know my job and you don't. That's not okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
One of the issues is building of condos, million-dollar condos, on top of the Hunters Point toxic dump site, radioactive dump site. What is going on there?
Oh, people are finding out about this here because some testing had been done, and that one of the workers apparently had died from doing the testing of the soil, and they said, where did the soil come from? And then all of a sudden, and now it's a problem because it's not the poor people that's living on the soil, it's the ones that can afford to build these condos come doing the complaining. So now why is it okay for you that can afford it and not okay for the ones that couldn't? It was okay for us to live on that soil, you know, and not only us, but they shipped some of that soil to Antioch and Pittsburgh when they found out about it now. So they're coming after the city about this here. So what happened to the poor people? And I mean, when I say poor, anyone that's making under $20,000 a year. $20,000 a year, what kind of money is that? And then you're going to say affordable housing. You can't afford it? Where's your low income? Where's your compassion? You don't have it. It's like, long as you got the almighty dollar, the heck with the rest of us. They're just throwing us to the wolves. And the wolves are too poor that they don't even want us.
Okay.